Hey guys, welcome to a new video. So we've had a lot of questions about how technically Warzone Duel works, how to fight in the mud, bunch of other questions, and I'm going to address some of those in today's video, okay? So first things first, we're going to talk about Warzone Duel, obviously. You're going to go over here to the right hand side of your screen, click on Warzone Duel. We're going to be fighting 923 next week. You can pop over to the Capital War tab. It's going to show you a bunch of different little things. There it goes, 882 versus 923, all your boxes and stuff you get from Warzone Duel. This is your little tab to keep track of what's all going on, but that's not the important topic of this video. The important topic of this video is we're going to talk about how to fight in the mud. And first things first is stamina. Stamina is just one of those little simple things that you can do before you go into fight. I like to have around 1,000 stamina before I go into fight, just so whenever you do try to attack someone and you run out of stamina, that little screen does not pop up. And, you know, it's just like a half a second, but I mean, it's still, like if you hit March right there and you're out of stamina, it would pull that screen up. You know, it's not a huge thing, but it's the little things that matter. So the next thing is that we're going to focus on is advanced teleports. I always like to make sure I have around 5 advanced teleports before I go into battle. I don't have any in this instance since our battle was just this past Saturday, and I used absolutely everything I have. But there's a couple different ways you can get some of these advanced teleports. You can go over to your Alliance. You can go to your Alliance store. You can buy one every single week in the Alliance store. I recommend doing that. Then you can scroll over to the VIP store. You can buy 3 of those every single week for about 600 diamonds. And then lastly, you can go to your diamond store and buy them for 1,500 a piece. Like I said, I'd like to have around 5. You know, obviously the more the better, but I would say minimum of 5. Another way to get some advanced teleports is go over here to the profession hall. You're going to click on that. If you're the engineering profession, you're going to scroll all the way up to level 75 and the free teleport skill. You have a chance to get a free teleport every 72 hours, and you can stack up 3 of them. It's just something that you can just throw some points in, and it's passive. So save you some diamonds here and there, and, you know, honestly, it doesn't hurt. It's a great skill to have. Highly recommend it. With that being said, when it comes down to fighting, I'm obviously not a very scrappy player, 36.2 million, so I kind of have to figure out my own little way of fighting. Obviously, like, it's not the best and it's not going to suit everybody, but this is kind of what I do, and I feel like I could share some advice. Next skill that you must have is Siege Mastery. I spec'd out of this because I was trying to spec some other things and I messed it up. I'm going to have to respec it, but highly recommend putting all 5 points into this, because with just 2 hits after a destroyed base, you can completely remove that tile. And then that leaves you your Alliance to have that said tile for 5 minutes before anybody else can teleport on it. So it's an extremely crucial skill to have, especially when it comes to talking about capital, where land is everything. As I'm recording this video, obviously this is after Capital War. I kind of regret I couldn't get any footage of our Capital War, but I will try to do the best examples that I can with what I got. So if you come over here to your capital, there's a couple different ways you can go about it. You can fight in the mud, which is the predominant way, and that's what I'm predominantly going to be showing in this video. Or you can fight outside of the mud and stay shielded and kind of be in a support for your Alliance. I highly, highly, highly recommend and encourage fighting in the mud. I understand that a lot of people might say that, you know, hey, I'm not powerful enough. I'm not meant to be in the mud. I don't have any troops. I'm scared to lose my troops. It takes me so long to build them back up. All these other different things. But honestly, at the end of the day, power doesn't matter. People that matters. Participation matters. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways on how I fight and what works best for me. And I feel like this would work for a lot of people around the same power level as me. So as soon as you poured in this example, let's say people are already in the mud. As soon as you poured into the mud, you're going to see all your opponents around you. As soon as you get ready to teleport in, the first thing you're going to want to do is scout. That is the number one most important thing. As soon as you teleport in, start scouting people. Scout, 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 scout everybody. What this allows you to do is to see if they have troops on the wall or not. A lot of people during Capital War do not have troops on the wall. You can see all these people do have troops on the walls. These are dead bases, so they're not going to have any troops on them. But let's try to find somebody that doesn't have troops on the wall so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And you can see that little like binoculars thing on the top left of your screen. That's how you get to see your scout reports. That has 0 troops on the wall. So you can hit them with your main squad, or you can hit them with a single Loki. It's still going to do damage, and you can still ash them. Another thing I look for is troops on your wall. So this is a highly debatable topic. I personally like to have my main squad on my wall. You can just simply turn them on and off your wall by clicking that little checkbox where it says join defense. That is the only thing I will ever put on my wall. But I kind of micromanage this throughout the battle, and it's took me a very long time to kind of get pretty like adept with using that. But it's a very like heavy thing you got to be on top of, and you have to be paying attention to, or somebody will burn through all your troops super quickly. That's why I only leave one squad on the wall at a time, and that's always going to be my main squad. So I'll leave my main squad back at home, and then I attack. Now, this is another thing that a lot of people get mixed up. You don't have to wait for your troops to come back. You don't have to do anything. As soon as your troops finish attacking, you immediately hit attack again. And it kind of does like a double attack and cancels the animation. See how quick I'm able to ash this base by just simply doing this? You have to be kind of quick with it, but this is a way to really clear out bases super quick, especially if they don't have any troops on the wall, and you can just immediately send your squad back out and kill them. Now, once they're done, it's a race against time now. You have to clear that tile out. With that tile, you're going to hit that little bulldozer emblem, and you're going to send your squads out. And that was that one skill is that I'm talking about. And once you clear that tile out, that holds it for your alliance for 5 minutes, where nobody else can teleport on that tile besides someone in your alliance. And like I said, where land is everything, that is a super important aspect to have. Another topic I want to pivot to is canning assignments. This is going to be a very flexible thing, and it's going to come down to a game time decision. But communicate with your alliance leaders, any R4 or R5. They'll usually send out alliance either in a mail or an announcement that'll kind of tell you, are you going to be northwest? Are you going to be southwest? You're going to be east? Kind of depending on what canning you are. And like I said, just kind of coordinate that with your alliance members, and it can change last second. Another thing is I really want to say is be ready and be on about 20 minutes before capital starts. Because people will get antsy and start jumping in the mud. And as soon as you start seeing people jump in the mud, communicate with your alliance chat, but I would highly recommend go ahead and jumping in, or they might get the jump on you, and you'll have to ash your way all the way to the cannons, which we had to do this last go-around. Pivoting to another role that you could do during Capital is being on the outside and being able to stay bubbled. The most important role of you doing this is clearing those ash basis tiles. That is the most important role of this, holding land where people can't teleport in on it. You can also long send to the actual capital itself. But like I said, the most important part is clearing those land tiles for your alliance members, and so they can't port in on there. But either way, I still highly recommend jumping in the mud. Clear those. Like I was saying, though, you don't have to be a very strong player to have a crucial impact on your server's win or loss in Warzone Duel. Like I said, take me for example. I'm a very below subpar player, and I finished 58th overall. You know, I'll take that as I will. I'm definitely not the 58th strongest player, but guess what? I learned how to play. I adapted my playing style, and using some of these simple techniques I showed in this video is how I was able to get such a higher score. But yeah, another thing is, like I said, let's attack this other base real quick. I'll show you one more time on how to use that attack strategy. So as soon as they attack, you want to cancel that animation by immediately hitting resend. Like I said, that kind of cancels the animation, and it just saves like, quarters of a second. But that animation time is detrimental, especially when you're having somebody that's freaking out and trying to throw their troops on the wall. So you want to try to ash them as quick as possible. But yeah, like I said, but yeah, I definitely left some things out in this video because I'm not perfect, and I still learn stuff every single day in this game, something new that I never knew of. So if you can think of anything else that you could add to this video to help kind of lower power players, kind of make a huge impact for their server, please put in the comments or send me a message or however. And if you have any more questions or concerns, you can message me in game, Gbell. Other than that, yeah, hope everybody has a good rest of their day. Good luck, okay?